Welcome to Appalachia Works at BitSource, this podcast that we do to shed light on really great things that are happening in Appalachia that people may not know about. And in this case, I got a feeling that you're going to have some things to talk about that hardly anybody knows about. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, my name is James Fitzpatrick. I work for a company called Cyber Innovation Group. We're owned by an American company called Blockware Solutions. We do crypto mining, crypto computer repair here in Pike County. We've got two sites that we operate off of, old coal mine sites. We've kind of repurposed those, and there's a lot of reasons why we've done that. But it's been an interesting ride. We've been here 4 years now in Pike County. I currently have 11 full-time company people. I have 6 full-time contractors. So it's not the job growth I would like to see, but it's quite a bit of jobs for this area.
Oh, sure.
And I compare that, and I say that because at the mine sites we had, it was several hundred people, if not 1,000 people at one time between those two. So, but we've got a great team. It's a great company. They're responsible and great to work for.
Well, you just drew that great little line there between coal mining and now Bitcoin mining. You've got an interesting history of how you got from one to the other, don't you? So tell me a little bit about that. How did that happen?
Yeah, I'll start off with, being from Eastern Kentucky. A lot of our family are coal miners. Myself, my great-grandparents, grandparents, uncles, brother-in-laws, they've all coal miners, all been in the coal industry, and that's kind of what helped raise me. My dad worked at Martiki, and he had 3 kids. I had 2 older sisters, and, he talked about how great Martiki was. And I remember doing the family days up there and the great source of income that provided. And that mine has since mined out and idled. Like a lot of mines, I'm 41 years old, so a lot has happened in my 40 years in Eastern Kentucky. So I was with the coal company. I started out with Massey Energy. I was in their electrician trainee program. I'd went to Big Sandy Community College and took industrial electricity, and then I'd went to Cumberland College for 1 year with Big Sandy for mining electricity. And Massey gave me a lot of opportunities to grow and be a professional coal miner. That's how I looked at it. And I spent a lot of my career at Martin County Coal and had some great people there. That mine had been there since the 70s, early 70s, and a lot of those people was at the end of their career. So I had a lot of great mentors that really took time to show me as a young person, hiring in at 21 years old, the ins and outs of coal mining and how to safely do it and responsibly do it and be productive. So I kind of use those things today for the site I run. My title there is head of mining operations.
Well, that transferred very well from one industry to the other.
Yeah. So we call it mines. It's a Bitcoin mine. Some call them farms. We call them mines. The computers we run are miners, but they're actually computers. And in Pike County, we'll have 6,500 or so miners running 24/7. So it's been a transition. Again, 4 years of not knowing anything about it to where we are today.
So you said to me before we started, you said, I wasn't really looking for, a transfer to something like this. Talk about how you made that jump.
Yeah, so my background being electrical, and then and later in my career went into some management as a maintenance coordinator at Martin County Coal, and then we started up the Pontiki plant in Martin County and ran that for several years. We had all these coal mining sites with the company I was working for just idled and basically abandoned. And we was trying to figure out what to do with them. And this company approached us saying, hey, we're looking for some sites that's already somewhat established with power. So we're on a power grid from AEP, a 69,000 power grid. So we had substations already set, meters set. And if you tried today to put a new meter in or a site, industrial site, AEP will tell you it could be 2 years by the time you go through all the hoops to to get to that point to put a meter in and go through their timeline. So all that was existing, and then what we do is Bitcoin mining with air-cooled miners. And when you get several thousand machines running at one time, you do have some noise. So the coal mine sites was more or less secluded areas, so we didn't have to worry about disturbing neighbors with the noise. And then the power is already there, so we had to repurpose some things and to make things work. When we came in 4 years ago, we invested around $10.3 million into our sites in Pike County in infrastructure and setting our sites up. And that's not counting the actual mining equipment itself, the miners. That was just infrastructure to get off the ground.
That's a pretty big investment to make. And that was on a site that was already existing, right?
That's right.
So I have to ask, and you're an Appalachian, you've lived here, you're raised here, this is a place that you are used to and feel accustomed to. But was there any thoughts on the parts of the owners of the company about putting a facility like this in Appalachia?
With the coal company, probably not. With the Bitcoin company Blockware, I think everything was still kind of new at that point, and probably still trying to get a feel from what's out there, where is the best site, anywhere in the United States. My company, our parent company, has sites in Texas and Oklahoma and Missouri and North Dakota, Iowa, and Georgia. So we're pretty spread out.
Yeah.
But
Well, maybe they met you and thought, okay, this is a good guy.
yeah,
And he knows the area and he knows it's a good place to go into business. That might have had something to do with it.
yeah, yeah. I met with those people, and I was with the coal company at that point. They're like, and I was instructed, hey, show these people around the facilities we have, the buildings, the sites. So we traveled around because we had a pretty big footprint. The Massey Alpha footprint was a pretty big footprint, and really wasn't looking to leave the coal industry. I was third generation coal miner. I'd kind of dedicated my life towards it. I held a lot of certifications in coal mining. And this group offered me a job after a couple of meetings with them, and I said, well, let's talk about numbers. And I said, well, that sounds about good. It sounds about right. So I made that transition over. It's been a learning experience, and really, a computer is a printed circuit board, and that's what the world's probably going to be running on. So it's probably a good transition for me. And then the team I have, all local people, it's good for them. We use energy and we use network. We use a lot of switches, network switches. And again, everything's going to be tied on the internet. So I'm able to teach my guys about, hey, the industrial side of electricity, because we use a lot of energy, a lot of electrical infrastructure in place, how to maintain that, how to do maintenance, pre-maintenance on it, and then the internet side of it. So that's our biggest side of mining, and then we do repairs. So a lot of these computers have multiple parts on them, and they'll go down over time. And again, running several thousand of them in the area, it's a lot to keep up.
Let's talk about that. Like, how big is this operation? You said several thousand.
Yeah, that's right. So in Pike County, we've got 2 sites, and we're around 21 megawatts right now of computing energy we're using. We've got around 6,500 computers running, 6,500 miners running 24/7.
So it's got to put out a lot of heat,
Yeah.
right? How do you keep that cool? Are you using a lot of water?
We don't use any water. We're all air cooled, so you see data centers, a lot of negative impact polluting water and using energy. So what we do is air cooled, so we really not have that to worry about or that issue. But in summertime, it's got its challenges. We use fans, intake fans and exhaust fans in our containers in our buildings, trying to remove the heat.
So you mentioned how big this place is and how many computers are running. That's using a lot of power. It's got to be getting hot. You got to keep it cool. Tell me a little bit about the power that you use.
So I try to simplify our energy consumption with megawatts. The super Walmart Center in Pikeville will run about 1 megawatt worth of power energy consumption. So
In what period of time?
Uh,
A day, a month?
well, this is given at any given moment, I
Oh, at
guess.
any given moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not like a tally.
Okay.
I guess you could say
Mm-hmm.
what you're using at the moment.
Sure.
So you could say it. We're using 21 super Walmart Center energy consumption rates. If you trying to make that comparison.
At any moment.
Yeah.
So, how does that work? Does that put a particular burden on our power grid and what everybody around here gets to use for power? And what happens if it becomes too much? How's that work?
Yeah, so we have an agreement with AEP. If the grid does get strained or overloaded, we will idle our sites down. If you look at AEP's grid, there's a company that they use called PJM, and they've got websites and they've got an app, and you can watch the grid at certain points of the day. You'll have a peak in the grid. It's usually say 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. So when they see a high spike in the grid, they'll say, "Hey, you need to idle your sites back," and we'll idle down to nothing, basically just lights, house power.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the trade-off with using that and with what our grid is currently, how it stands in eastern Kentucky.
Okay. Before we went on, you said there's sometimes people don't always they lump together, for example, what you do in a data center, those great big mega data centers. Can you explain the difference in that? Because you talked about people being concerned about it.
Yeah, so I don't know. There's a lot of talk right now about stuff going on in Mingo County, and I have no idea the ins and outs. You just hear what people talk about, and they talk about, well, you're going to pollute the waters. Well, everything we do is air cooled, so we have no water going in and out of the property. And then we're all on AEP. We don't generate any power from gas generators. I think that's another thing they've applied for. I did see they applied for like an air quality permit. So we don't do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
We're strictly on the utility grid.
Okay. And, I asked the question a little bit earlier. I kind of want to go back to it. I still think there are people who would be shocked to learn that there is a facility like this in Pike County, Kentucky, in the heart of Appalachia in the mountains. I think that there maybe are preconceived notions that we don't have that kind of high tech industry happening here. But we do, and we have now for, you said 4 years for you guys.
Yeah, that's right. Again, looking back when I started my career, I never would have dreamed or fathomed that I would be where I'm at today.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still on some of the same mining sites, but nothing related to coal mining.
Right.
To be a site doing hosting computers that's running 24/7, solving an algorithm for the Bitcoin reward. Who would ever dream that?
Yeah.
But again, we had some great things to come to this area, and it's kind of our job to sell it to that company, and they believed in us, and here we are today. Our next step for our company is more of the repair side. With that many computers, you try to run them 24/7, and if something breaks down, the quicker you could make the repair and get it back online, that's kind of your goal.
Mm-hmm.
The safest way possible and quickest way possible. So we're building our team up now to make those repairs, and then our goal one day will be to repair other people's machines, other people's computers and miners. And there's a market out there. There's an industry for that. We've got a good sized warehouse on Big Creek, and the infrastructure's there. It's just getting the final puzzle pieces in, and our team ready to start doing outside repairs.
So it's kind of cool to think there is a line for you to follow in growth, right? That's just one of the other places you could go.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's our. Again, from my perspective, being from Eastern Kentucky, what can we do for job creation?
Mm-hmm.
And that's our next step. Hopefully we can get some more people on board with that, or more people on.
Okay, well, I might regret asking this. I hope not. But when you talk about repairs, that's not something that another computer or AI can do, is it?
No, this
Aha!
is.
Humans have to do it.
Yeah, that's right. In the electrical world, with electrical background, you see what AI could do. Well, there's not very many robots that's ever going to be able to come out and do electrical repairs. And the same with this. These are printed circuit boards with solid state components. It's going to take a human hand to set it up and repair it. I don't know, you probably put it in front of a robot and it might be able to do something on it, but still going to have the human element to keep that running, to make that repair.
So it is providing jobs in the area and also a potential for growth for even more.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm curious if somebody were to, not that they be trying to recruit you away, but if somebody were to approach you who was thinking about setting up something similar, it might not be Bitcoin mining, maybe it'd be something different. But if they were considering doing that here, what would you tell them about doing it in this region?
Well, I mean, there's some good things that we offer.
Hmm.
Again, mining industry, you've got some problem solvers. You've got people that just ain't going to just roll over and die, and that's what you kind of see with a lot of, I don't know, buildings or infrastructure here. People went out of business, companies going out of business that supported mining. You have to be able to adapt, or there is no future.
Hmm.
So again, when we put our sites together, using local contractors, and a lot of them was geared for mining. They was able to come over and make the transition and build our sites out.
Hmm.
So it's about growth and being able to adapt to what's new.
I mean, is that not true of everybody almost that lives in this region? Is that to live here in the very beginning, you had to be able to adapt to this region? I mean, back when it was just sustenance farming, right? So that's kind of in our DNA,
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And,
adaptability.
yeah,
Yeah.
we got some people in this area. They've got good attitudes about them. I was taught, an honest day's work for honest day's pay,
Hmm.
and that's how I try to conduct myself and my team, to hold them accountable. That's kind of our motto, is how we're going to be successful.
I'm curious if you just, meet somebody in passing. Hey, this is so and so, and you shake hands. They say, "What do you do for a living?" How do you explain this? Because I find it complicated. How do you explain what you do?
It's very hard. Again, being at old coal mine sites, I've had conversations with some older people, my grandpa, like trying to explain to him, and I, try to put it in terms he can understand.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, he's like, "Well, do you still go underground?" It's like, well, no, luckily not. So it's a whole other terminology even to speak what you're doing, and
Yeah.
you try to break it down the best you can.
Uh-huh. So what about people? And again, I don't know your grandpa, but I'm assuming he wouldn't know what Bitcoin is or why people are dealing with it or working on it. Do you just say I work with computers? Is that how you explain it?
A lot of times, and then you try to, what is Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin is what yesterday's gold used to be. What was the asset you could hold other than the American dollar? Gold or silver has been around forever. Bitcoin is today's gold or silver.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. So do you see it eventually just completely taking over?
I don't know. I don't know. I've tried to do my own research. Our company has a great research and development team that goes on. You go on our website at Blockware Solutions, and there's a lot of YouTube videos and some other podcasts that kind of explain what we do and how we do it. And I'd encourage people to go on there and learn about it before you make your mind up, whether it's good or bad for the region or the economy. Or I'd say inform yourself a little bit about it.
The thing I have the hardest time, just being honest, wrapping my head around are intangible things. So gold and silver are tangible and finite, but it was being explained to me shortly before you came that Bitcoin is also finite, right? There is a limit to how much Bitcoin
Yeah,
there will ever be.
Bitcoin is basically you're solving an equation. You solve the equation, submit the answer, and you get a portion of Bitcoin as a reward. And again, there's only so many rewards out there.
Okay.
And once that number has been met, or that last coin has been mined, then that's it. You can't print no more of it. Where I guess you could say in today's world, what's the government do?
They should print more money.
Print more money. So once you reach that, you just can't keep making more of it. And that's what there's different coins out there that probably don't follow suit to that, but Bitcoin is one of them.
Okay. So what do you see for the next? I know you said eventually getting into repairing, but is there another line that you see or anything else for the future in the next 5 or 10 years? Because you're still a young man. You got a long time to work in this.
That's right. I don't know. That's a good question. Um, I started out probably just taking it day by day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where's this road going to take me? But you do always kind of look at the future and what's the next step.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. What I think about Bitcoin and crypto, I think it's going to be around a while.
Mm-hmm.
And once Bitcoin is mined, then you still have to have servers to make the transactions.
Mm-hmm.
So you're still going to have computers out there, the data centers, that's able to do that. And it could be more AI now. Once AI is really evolving, um, where's the data centers going to be to back that power up?
Mm-hmm.
Or the autonomous vehicles that's traveling around. They have to have a data center somewhere that they communicate to and get driving instructions or whatever
Yeah.
from.
It's kind of like the Wild Wild West in a way. I'm not sure anybody knows exactly where it's headed. Would that be fair?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Making it up as we go,
Yeah,
which is also something Appalachians are good at,
yeah,
is making something up as you go and making it work, which again is what the podcast is about. Appalachia Works. This works here. It's working well, and you do see a future for it.
yeah. And again, what can we do for the community? In my company, we've had several conversations about that. Well, we're coming in and using your resources. We're investing in the community by the jobs. If you look at our wages and employment packages that goes with your wage, we're $2 million plus or something, and then your taxes you pay on wages, and $250,000 easy there.
Yeah.
So we're it is a bump back to the local economy,
Yeah.
and that's what one thing I want to see in life. Not just me have a job, but other fellow Eastern Kentucky people, fellow Kentuckians.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have kids?
No, I don't have kids.
Okay, because that's one of the things a lot of people talk about, and that is I want to make sure my kids have a place to work here.
Yeah,
Because so often we see that people are worried about the next generation and what are they going to do. So a future that is built around things like mining Bitcoin could absolutely be paving that way.
yeah, that's right. I have nieces and nephews I love dearly, and I want to see the best for them.
Yeah.
And I hope they have the life here. I don't want to see them move away to follow jobs. And you know, Dwight Yoakam wrote the song "Reading, Writing, and Route 23."
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was to go north for jobs,
Mm-hmm.
Columbus and Detroit, and I've heard a lot of those stories. People go up there and work a couple of years and come back with the mining up and downs, the coal mining ups and downs, to survive and provide for the family.
You know what we never hear is about people who do that and decide they like it better. You know, you just don't ever hear that. People are like, I want to go home. If they can't do anything else, to come home on the weekends.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I'm fascinated because your story is again so unexpected in our region, and I'm always impressed by people who can take something and pivot it. And in this case, there was a huge pivot. So you had idle mining facilities, right? And they got repurposed for what you're doing now.
That's right. And if we hadn't done it, more than likely those sites would just be standing fields today. Nothing there. Um, my men work 24/7. I've got split schedules, and then got security. So again, they're active. In a sense, we're doing something, and we've got people there.
Yeah, it's doing a good thing for the community. And again, shedding light on this. And it's not like y'all are going to beat your chest and advertise to say, look at what we're doing. So this is an opportunity for us to tell people who otherwise, would know. It's a small pocket of information that I hope we can spread and make it a little more, just put more light on it, that there are some really good things going on here. Appalachia really does work.
Yeah, and it's a chain reaction. I mean, I try to shop local all I can. There's several businesses around here I use monthly or daily or weekly,
Mm-hmm.
and I try to use all local I can.
Yeah.
That's again, my job is to have a safe mine, a productive mine, and you have to be, you have to make money at it. So, in reason. But again, I try to buy local all I can.
Well, it's nice when that circle is completed and it all works together.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Is there anything that that I haven't asked about that you think, wow, people would be surprised to know this, or let me just shed some light on that?
Again, if you just go to our website, and we've got some pictures of what our facility looks like, I would say go to that. It'll blow your mind what we're doing up that little holler at Big Creek. I mean, you could not visualize it if I tried to explain it.
I'd say you're right.
All these computers just stacked on rows and on these shelves and racks upon racks of them.
So I can picture the racks and racks and racks of computers. Talking to somebody from another industry earlier, they were talking about the density per rack that they use. Do you know what that is? Like, how does that work for you? Is that even a phrase that makes sense?
Uh, no, not really.
Okay.
I've not heard that.
Well, again, this was a slightly different industry, but I thought it was worth asking because I'm learning this stuff as we go along. I will tell you, you might as well be talking to me like I'm a kindergartner when it comes to this because it's not my world. Didn't grow up in it, don't know about it. And I am like most of the people who will watch and listen to this podcast, learning as we go. But it's something you learned as you went along, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And I guess our terminology would probably be more computing power. Each miner is rated at a certain hash rate. So then when all your miners are together, you have like a grand hash rate. So that's probably more of our terminology.
Okay. I'll write that one down. Ask the next person that comes in until I start getting this right. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to get to meet you. I love meeting other people from Appalachia who are doing such good things.
Yeah, appreciate you asking me to come on and take part in this. It does mean something to me. Appalachia means something to me. Eastern Kentucky is home.
Yeah. And there's no place like home.
That's right.
Nobody said it better than Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. Yeah. Thanks again.